AskReddit by Educational Coast 304. What's the best pickup line you've ever heard? When I was teaching kindergarten, one of my students, who knew I love video games, dropped this one on me. "You're pretty. You should come to my house after school and we can play Little Big Planet. My mom makes great snacks." His mom and I had a good laugh about it at pickup time. If a little kid is telling you you're pretty, you must be gorgeous. Those shitbags never miss an opportunity to destroy self-esteem if they can. A woman once told me every time I drink tequila I wind up sleeping with someone and then proceeded to take a shot of tequila while holding eye contact with me. Deleted. A million years ago when you could smoke inside, a guy approached me at a diner and asked, "Are you left-handed?" Me, "No, why zero?" Him, "I noticed you smoke with your left hand. And you have a spectacular ass." Caught me so off guard and I was amused. When did they stop letting you smoke inside a guy? A regular at a bar I worked at dropped this gem on a girl. "I'd buy you a drink but I'd be jealous of the glass." I groaned so loud she laughed at me and walked away from him. My favorite one, I overheard a drunk guy at the bar lay on someone. "Is your name Emerson? 'Cause Emerson big ol' titties." Definitely got a laugh from the guys. The guy had zero chance anyway, but he did get her to laugh. I was at my friend's house and his 5-year-old brother grabbed one of our friends by the hand and asked if he could play her a song on his guitar. She said yes. He picked up his guitar but stopped just before strumming it, thought for about 30 seconds and said, "I don't know any songs for princesses." That little kid had way more game than 19-year-old me had. On a similar note, in college I was meeting my neighbors at the start of a new year. This cutie told me she just got off a summer internship at Disney, and in the only smooth moment of my life I said, "So which princess were you?" It was the first snowfall of the season. The person and I were walking around campus together. We were friends who were heading out to grab a snack in between classes. We were quietly walking when the person suddenly said to me, "The snow looks beautiful today." In my native language, my name means snow, frost, ice. Turned out they were hitting on me and I didn't realize until later. "Hi, Neej." Or, wait, is it Sneewu? "Hi, Sneewu." Went to a restaurant where a girl I knew from high school ended up being our waitress. Me, "What time do you get off?" Her, "Around 5 or so." Me, "Want to get off again after that?" To my amazement it actually worked. I once asked a waitress, "What time do you get off?" and she replied, "Whenever I feel like it." Then she blushed bright red and said, "I can't believe I said that." On Halloween a buddy of mine was dressed as a Viking. He asked a girl if she wanted to hear his Viking pickup line. She said yeah. So he literally picked her up and threw her over his shoulder and said he was taking her back to the boat. They dated for almost a year. This one is risky. At a college Halloween party, I was dressed up as Kazali, although everyone assumed I was an angry bird, and I walked up to a woman dressed up as a golfer and told her that she could score a birdie tonight. Did it work? When I was a student at university, I saw a pretty girl eating a particular brand of yogurt at the crowded dining hall before morning classes. I had the same brand of yogurt on my tray. I asked if I could sit at her table and she nodded. I looked across the table at her and pointed at her yogurt and said with a big schmucky smile, "Your plate or mine." It was said with humor and not as a pickup line. I ended up marrying that pretty girl. Amazing, given the horrible first line. That's not a horrible first line. That's an adorable first line. And if you were genuinely saying it to be funny and not to pick her up, then that's even cuter. Those stupid AF pickup lines would definitely get anyone with a sense of humor talking. I love spitting them out at my husband. We also love reading awful dad jokes to each other when there's a good post on here with them. Congratulations to you and your cute little wiffy. I actually said this out of the blue, so for context I'm a waiter at a restaurant, and there was this girl customer who was like in her early 20s. She was very extroverted and spoke a lot, like a lot. We were at the front trying to pay for her bill and she just kept going and going and going. Once we finished I said, "Geez, what a roller coaster," because talking with her was so wild, and she replied, "Haha, sorry, talking to me does that." So I smirked and said back, "It's fine. It makes me want to pay for another ride," and I will never forget how both of our eyes widened because I didn't think it would come out like that, but it did. Post is clarity. A couple of women yelled to Buddy and I on the street, "Hey pretty boys, I would pay for you to glaze my donut." This is a rough translation from Spanish, but it was hilarious and super unexpected, lol. Deleted. A long time ago I worked in the nightclub scene. End of the night, lights are up and the last stragglers are paying their tabs or trolling. One of our trawlers walks up to a woman signing her tab at the bar and interrupts her with, "Listen, when you get done here let's go back to your place and I'll fuck you in the ass for 15 minutes, leave, and never call you again because that's all the better you're going to do." The whole club went silent as everyone heard what he said. Staff literally stopped in their tracks to see what would happen next. Real world slow motion shit. She signed her tab, grabbed his hand and they left together. There is no way the troller, which is a new term I'm learning, knew the girl and was being cheeky, right? I fucks with my partner occasionally with intentionally awkward intros, albeit far from this troller fellow's performance. I was late for my ride to Comic Con Dragon Con, so I was running down the side of the road in a rough area of downtown Atlanta while wearing a giant hoop skirt 17th century gown. A rather tipsy seeming gentleman did a full double take and said loudly, "That's the best goddamn thing I've seen since 1978. I'm so curious what happened in 1978. Close Encounters of the Third Kind was released. We were just joking around over text about some of our classes and she goes, "Personally my favorite is anatomy. I'd let you help me study later if you want." I replied, "I'd offer to help you with chemistry but I think we've already got that one figured out." I think we stunned each other into silence. What happened? It's not a pickup line as such, but this guy once said to me in passing, "GIL, I wanna feed you steak and grapes," and I have never forgotten. This is the only acceptable form of flirtation I'll be accepting now. What a king. Do you sleep on your stomach? If not, do you mind if I do? If I said you had a beautiful body, would you hold it against me? Best one that worked for me was, "Is my tie straight?" In every case, the woman I was talking to would look it over, make a microscopic adjustment, pat it down to ensure it was laying flat, and say something there. Perfect. So she has already gotten up close, broken the touch barrier, taken some ownership of my appearance, and has said that the result looks good. Then I say I'm meeting someone today, curiosity engaged, she asks who, I say hopefully, you. That always got a smile. Didn't always work, but worked better than anything else I ever tried. You know, of all the lines I've read so far, this is the one that would probably work on me. Want to grab a pizza and fuck, she looks at him, completely disgusted. What, you don't like pizza? My friend circa 2007. I wish I was as tall as you, can I borrow a few inches? Lucky for you, a few inches is all I got. I was at the gym, at the locker room, and this girl saw me with the same towel. She said, "We have the same towel," and I was like, "True, haha." Then, she said, "I wonder if we have the same phone number, too. Wanna check?" I told her I already had a girlfriend, but I wished her the best because she deserves the world. Reminds me of the Phoebe line from Friends. Some guy, Phoebe, that's a cute name. Phoebe, yeah, well then you should hear my number. buddy of mine just graduated the fire academy. This was 30 years ago. He and another graduate were at their graduation party at a bar when they were chatting up some girls. His friend was talking to a taller chick when she mentioned she might be too tall for him. His buddy, the shorter dude, remarked, "I bet you're worth the climb." Girl, you a tall glass of water, and I'ma tell you straight up, I'm thirsty. Puff smoky smoke, Juana man. I was hanging out with this girl and we were at that stage where we were one but were trying to decide if we were just friends. So I followed procedure and let her break the touch barrier first. I reciprocated as we were sitting at this bar having a beer together after our other friends had left. She says, "Can I ask you a question?" and I think she's going to say, "Do you like me?" or something like that. Instead she says, "I've always wanted to mess around with a guy's ass. Are you down for that?" It was direct and it worked for her. I'm speechless. If I was into guys I'd be tempted to try that. Instead I'm a useless lesbian who sucks at flirting. I saw a girl walking down the street once and her shoe wasn't tight, so I bent down, started tying it and said, "I wouldn't want you falling for anyone else." I was with a lot of friends at the time who lost it, so it didn't go anywhere, but it seemed like it worked. The better part is one of my buddies was like, "Oh shit, that's amazing, I got to try that," and got so excited. Did the same thing and the person he chose was wearing sandals and just went, "What the fuck are you doing?" He panicked and just ran away. Funniest thing ever. Deleted. I never thought a pickup line could make me feel rejected. When I was 20 I was hanging out with my friend in a pizza bar where he was flirting with a waitress near closing. She said to him, "My roommate has a waterbed and is gone for a week, but they locked their door. Do you know how to pick locks?" I just said, "Welp, time for me to go. See you later." Waterbed, lol. That's a flashback a few decades. Shorter guy here, 5 feet 6, 167 centimeters. I was working on a design project all day with my classmate Kathy in college. We ended up flirting and teasing each other. I mentioned something about taller guys have it easier to date her. She was much taller than me by 10 centimeters. She replied, "We're all the same height in bed." I was out jogging and passed this cute girl walking her dog. We both smiled at each other. A few minutes later I was passing her again coming back up the block. I, now walking, took a knee to pet the dog and said, "I can't pass up something so cute twice without saying hi." I then stood up and said, "Hi, your dog is pretty cute too." Edit. For those asking what happened next, nothing lol. I had just started dating my now wife and I believe dog girl had a BF too. So what happened after that? No response. When I met my now wife, I had a few beers at the time and saw her name was Sarah. I told her, "You know, if you give me a chance I can serenade you." That was 5 years ago and we're expecting a child in a few weeks, so I think that was my best pickup line ever. Not a pickup line, but apparently my cousin's husband tripped her at a bar on purpose and caught her. Worked out alright. Rom-com energy.